What's going on, YouTube? Wild review here for you. The new Dive Bomb G1 pigeon silhouette. This is what we're working with. Pigeon hunting, something I just kind of got into. It's a good season filler. So, if there's ever a lull between hunting seasons and I'm really wanting to get out and, shoot the gun, pigeon hunting is an awesome little plug-in for your hunting season. Typically, I don't pigeon hunt, but maybe, a couple times a year, just because I don't have a ton of pigeon spots, and I like to kind of save them up, let them build up. That way, when I do go, I have, a really good shoot. So, anyway, I wanted to get some pigeon decoys, not because I feel like you really need one. If you're trying to get into pigeon hunting and you don't have anything that flaps will do. Like, if you have a mallard drake mojo and you stick it out in the mud, the pigeons are going to come to the flash because they're just drawn to that. So don't really overthink them. They're not that intelligent of animals. I think there's a lot of animals out there that are. Crows, for example, they're cut above a lot of other bird species. Pigeons are towards the bottom. They're not very smart. So I don't think you have to have them. The reason I got them is because I feel like I'm going to kill more pigeons in the sense that. So what I've noticed is I have just a couple dove mojos, and I'll put those out, and they just suck right into them. But the problem is, when you get a decent little wind, I like to hunt pigeons on like a 10 to, about a 10 mile an hour wind, not too windy where they can get out quickly, but I want enough wind to where when they come and they make a swing, they can kind of tighten up. And my theory is on days that it's not as windy, that if I use these decoys and I keep them tight, and I think I can manipulate the pigeons to stay together and kind of key on a specific zone, because I feel like if I had a pile of pigeons and a bunch of decoys and they're real tight and I keep the mojos tight, I feel like when they go to make that final swing, they're going to see all those pigeons kind of balled up, and it may tighten them up. I think when you have the mojos, I think they come in, they start looking for pigeons on the ground, and I think they kind of start to drift. So that's why I went with a pigeon decoy, is because I think that may help me with that. I may be completely wrong, but I'll let you guys know how they work out. But I looked at pigeon decoys last year. Man, there's not a whole lot out there. The Soar No More have some pigeon decoys, but they're a full body and they're pretty big, and I just can't see myself, taking a bag of decoys pigeon hunting. I think that's a little overwhelming. As far as a silhouette, I didn't know of anybody else out there who made one. I just recently saw that Dive Bomb came out with one, and I just jumped all over it. They retail for $55 a dozen, which I think is probably it's a little expensive, but you don't need many. I think a dozen will probably take you all the way, unless you're hunting maybe in Oklahoma on some cattle or dairy farm where you're like talking thousands and thousands of pigeons. I don't have a huge operation for pigeons. Little small scale, maybe 100 or 2 at a farm. So yeah, a dozen will take you all the way. Durability wise, for $55, you're getting a good decoy. I will say that. Dive Bomb, you did a very good job of the overall construction. They are just that corrugated plastic that you would see in like a yard sign. But the corrugation, the spines to the corrugation appear to be rather thick, thicker than what you would see on a yard sign. So when you hear the yard sign comparison, don't think that in a bad way. They have a decent amount of flex. I don't feel like there's any cracking or any sort of a brittle nature to them. I don't feel like I have to be gentle with it in any stretch of the imagination. I've done the scratch test. I've worked my fingernail on one spot on a decoy, and I tried to, maybe get the paint to start chipping, and I couldn't. So I will say that the quality of them is rather nice. The size is incredible. I think that I had, in the picture you'll see, I have these compared to a milk jug, but overall comparison, they're about the size of what I would think a mallard drake. Obviously not the head, not as long, but if you saw a mallard walking in a park, they're about the same size, decoy-wise. So they're obviously well oversized for the visibility, which I like. They come in a couple different body styles, like in head positions. So there's 2 of them. This one obviously has the white and the tail feathers, but a couple walkers. They've got a resting pigeon as well, a different like feather detailed pigeon, and then they got one like unicorn looking white brown pigeon. I like the color differences. I like to see more white ones, to be honest with you, or brown ones. That's one thing you'll notice about pigeons when you see them, is there's a ton of colors. Not a single pigeon looks anywhere close to each other. Matter of fact, last year when I went, I shot a black one, all black. I shot an all white pigeon, brown, and then your standard iridescent pigeon. So a lot of variety there. So I'm glad to see that they weren't all. I would not have. I don't know. I don't want to say that, but I don't think I'd have been as quick to purchase them if they were all iridescent pigeons, because it would have just, something would have bothered me about not having anything, any sort of a variance in color. But anyway, yeah, quality wise for the money, I can't complain. Oversized decoys, they're really easy to assemble. There's 2 notches in the corrugation. That's where you're going to stick the spring steel little stakes in. I didn't have them in here obviously for the sake of the video, but I think that I'll put these things to good use here pretty quick. I think that it will help. It's going to make some awesome shot cam footage. But if you guys are looking to maybe get into the pigeon hunting world, you maybe want to step things up, or just like to have decoys for certain situations like me, I highly recommend these G1 pigeon silhouettes from Dive Bomb. Again, I compared them to those DOA, or not the DOA, the Soar No Mores, but I can't pull the trigger on a $200 dozen box of pigeon decoys from Soar No More, and I don't think pigeons are that smart to where they need to see a full body decoy. At least I hope that they're not that smart. I mean, the pigeons that I've always shot, I mean, most of the groups that I've shot into pigeon wise, they come in, you can just absolutely hose them. They turn around, they fly, and then they see the mojo, like, just come back. Like, they have no idea. So I've never had any experience of pigeons, like, really showing me that they're, like, very acute in their human detection and decoy analysis skills. So I'm not worried about that. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. If you have any more questions about the Dive Bomb pigeon silhouettes, leave them in the comment section below. I'll answer them probably within the hour. Other than that, good luck, and I can't wait for you guys to see me put these things to good use. Take it easy.